The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent, including Olus Media.
Olus Media.
Attacking the podcast world. And based on the true legendary cult classic, Olus Media presents
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Did somebody mention biscuits?
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. They'll beat you, bash you, squish you, mash you, chew you up for brunch.
How bad is it?
Finish you off.
Also, I definitely don't kill fly again.
I'm not talking about that, you wiener. What about the tomatoes?
Hey there, tomato aficionados and lovers of all things quirky. Welcome back to the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes podcast. Today's episode promises a special treat with guest Steve Lundquist, the iconic Igor from Return of the Killer Tomatoes. Here to provide a whirlwind of nostalgia, laughter, and juicy behind-the-scenes stories is your host, Costa Dillon.
Hi, this is Costa Dillon with another edition of the Killer Tomato podcast, and I am excited to be talking to Steve Lundquist, who was one of the Academy Award-winning actors we had in our films.
I'm kind of waiting for mine in the mail right now.
Yeah, well, it was we're the only people to know that they gave out Academy Awards to the limousine drivers, so it's a obscure category.
Garbage truck.
So Steve Lundquist, for fans of the Killer Tomatoes, know he played Igor in the second, third, and fourth films. Return of the Killer Tomatoes Strike Back, and Killer Tomatoes Eat France. He came to us from being a gold medal Olympic swimmer. And so that's my first question, Steve, is how in the heck did Killer Tomatoes manage to get you?
You poor guys. I just enjoyed it. I got a call from my agent. Said, show up on time, know your lines, and be done. I said, absolutely. Sounds like fun.
And it was fun, right? We had a great time.
We had a blast.
The
only difference is Clooney's career took off a little bit better than mine.
Did it? You know, I've lost track of him, so not sure where he is these days. What was your first day on set? Because I don't remember.
I don't remember either. My goodness, that was quite a while ago. It was a lifetime ago for both of us.
It really was.
We both had hair.
Yeah, well, yeah. I saw a commercial on TV for a product that says "Start your hair growth journey," and I thought, well, my hair started a journey. It left without me. I don't know where it went. It didn't tell me where it is. So,
please inform me.
That's right. If I wanted to keep my hair, I would have carried a paper bag with me.
I did a commercial.
What's that?
I did a commercial for Vidal Sassoon.
Oh, you did? And
so my wife now says we need to sue them because you don't have hair anymore, and it was because of that.
Right. Which product was that? The hair be gone.
Sassoon D, I think.
All right. So you I talk to John Aston every once in a while now, and I had him on the podcast a few weeks ago. But yeah, since you were his character sidekick there, what memories do you have of working with John?
He was always so animated, and I loved it because, and then when he looks at you, he gives that one look, you're like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. And then other times he looks at you, you go, I'm going to crack you up just because I can.
He's still that way. I tell you, he's 93, I can't think, 94 or something, and he's still sharp as a tack. It's amazing how sharp he is.
Unbelievable.
Even to this day. I want to be that way at that age. So what?
Yeah, listen.
So what tell me about what you've been doing since Killer Tomatoes?
That was the pinnacle of my life, and so I've just sat around since then.
Yeah, it's all downhill for that. Wait for those royalty checks to pour in, right?
It's funny you say that. I got a royalty check, no joke, for 1 penny.
1 penny. All right. It
And
cost more to print the thing than it did
yeah,
to give it to you, right?
that,
Yeah,
that's
I've
getting
gotten some
framed.
42-cent one. Yeah, that's
Uh,
right.
right.
That's it. You
I was
don't.
talking with a friend of mine
Yeah. Go ahead.
that produced Avatar and Titanic. He and his wife, and she's an actress, and she gets these small checks as well. And we're like, why do they send them out? Help out the actors, Screen Actors Guild with that money, and eventually all that'll add up. But that 1 penny you sent to me that cost about $2.50 to process, just make sure it's under $20 or something. Give it to somebody. What are we going to do with
Well, I don't cash it just to mess with the Fox accountants so they can't balance their books.
it?
We're missing a penny somewhere. Where is it?
Where is it? It went to Costa and Steve.
That's right. They didn't cash it. They really.
So did you join the strike?
I actually when I go to Comic-Con every year because we get the professional badge, and the union was demonstrating out in front of Comic-Con. And I said, "Hey, what the heck? I can get a free T-shirt and and help the strike." So I went over and they gave me a free T-shirt. Walked around with a sign for a little bit, and I was happy. The union was happy. Did our thing.
Well, and you got your steps in for the day.
I got my steps in for the day. Exactly. Yeah, I wasn't quite as colorful as some of the other people out there who got their photos taken. I was in the they separated us, colorful group, boring group, and I was in the boring group, so didn't get to be in the
boring group.
So
it's funny. You speak of T-shirts, and I'm wearing a T-shirt that a group is called Georgia Organics.
Oh,
I
know
don't know what they do. I think they do organic food.
Yeah.
And they do a thing called the Killer Tomatoes Festival, and it's anything tomato wise.
Yep. Yes, I've been to that festival. I have been there.
Have you really?
Yes,
you come
indeed.
to Atlanta and not said hello to me?
I didn't know how to get a hold of you. If I do it again, I definitely will. Yeah, because we licensed them.
Well, I hope you do now.
Yeah, because Killer Tomatoes is licensed, so we licensed them to use the name.
Nice.
And,
it's a fun festival here in Atlanta.
Oh, it's great. I've been there in 5 years, but if I go again, I'll definitely let you know. Because I didn't know where you were.
Please do.
So you're in Georgia. Are you in Atlanta?
I'm outside of Atlanta, about 20 minutes south of Atlanta, close to the airport.
Is that? I know you went to high school in Georgia, right?
I did.
Is that near
there?
I
live on the same lake I grew up on.
No kidding. How about that?
Yep.
Did you learn to swim in that lake, or did you use swimming pools?
I learned how to swim in this lake and then joined a swim club. But then our summer training, we do probably a good 2 hours in the lake as well.
Whoa. So you're probably too far north for alligators there, huh?
I hope we're too far north for alligators.
I just wondered how you learned to swim fast. I thought maybe maybe if there are alligators in that lake, it's great Olympic training. Swim faster.
Swim or die.
That's right. So tell me. Yeah, go ahead and tell me something you remember about whichever of the films. It doesn't matter. Tell me a story that the listeners would be interested in.
I remember so little because I'm so old now. I remember some of the bit players that came on were so unbelievably talented, and it was fun to watch them. And I've seen a lot of those guys in commercials now and everything else over the years, and there's a lot of them just hilarious. I don't know how you found all those guys, but they were hilarious.
And so you were in awe watching the other people act.
Absolutely. I was in awe of watching anybody who could act, and I wasn't one of those.
I would beg to differ.
Well,
go ahead.
The small world story that I have about that is one of my best friends who I basically raised, and he actually turned out okay. He started dating this girl, and her sister was in one of the movies.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've met at least 30,000 people in San Diego who claim to have been in one of the movies. I don't think we have that many people. It's like all the people at Woodstock. Everybody in San Diego was in Killer Tomatoes. My daughter she was in college, was participating in a conversation with a bunch of other girls, and they all started discussing the movie. And my daughter's sitting there going, "Oh, my dad wrote that movie." What? Yeah, it's kind of odd how those things happen. I don't think they believed her. So there. Well, can I?
That happens.
You also have. You also got to be fortunate to be made into a cartoon character on the cartoon show, and I'm assuming that you have
heard
those
that.
toys. Do you have your action figure?
I don't have any of that.
You don't have any of those? Oh no!
Somebody called, was doing. Yeah. Well, somebody called and was like doing the Killer Tomatoes, and they were talking about everybody, and everybody reconvected and all that, and so I interviewed him, and then he sent me pictures of some of the toys. He sent me, I haven't seen the cartoon yet, but I think it's hilarious.
You are. It's a little action figure of you in your blue shorts and white socks, and was figured quite prominently in the cartoon. So you and Steve Peace are the action figures in the cartoon packs there. So yeah, not everybody gets made into a cartoon or gets made into an action figure. Some of us are a cartoon daily, but not an action cartoon.
I was cleaning out a storage unit. We just moved last year, just right on the other side of the lake, and I had kept. Remember when we were doing it was the sponsorship and all the shoes and all that, and the high top shoes that I had. I think there were some Nikes.
Yeah,
I kept those.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, I remember. In Return of the Killer Tomatoes. For those of you who haven't seen it, and if you haven't seen it, you go out and buy a copy. The part of
we both need another penny.
That's right. One of the jokes in the show is that we go from generic products to name brand products, and we weren't a big enough name for anybody to pay to be in the film. So the best I could arrange was free stuff. So we had free Moosehead beer. We had free candy bars and a few other things, including some free shoes, which we probably got from Payless shoes rather than Nike directly.
We weren't quite on their radar.
No, we weren't quite on their radar. We got because I can remember the guy at Moosehead said, "Well, we're not going to pay anything, but we'll give you some beer." Okay. Close enough. We'll take it.
Okay.
And then you and I got to go to. Well, you and I got to go to France. That
was fun.
That was fun. And what do you remember about filming in France?
Well, I remember two things. One of which was I'm going around the Arc de Triomphe, thinking, who's ever done this with a guy with a whip on another Citroën? And they closed off the art around that whole big area. That 5-star movies don't do that. And somehow we had the connection to almost shut that place down and do a scene.
They did tell me that,
and
it was rare. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's rare. And then the other one was we were filming. I think we pointed at a sign that said "Rue de Rude" or something like that. Rue Rude, because of the French being rude, right?
Yes.
And some guy, I'm sitting in the Citroën with my black wig, and I look like Howard Stern. The guy comes up, my window's down, comes up and spits on me. I'm like, what the heck did I do?
Yeah, I
didn't know my acting was that bad.
Yeah, that's right. I hadn't reached France yet. Yeah, we saw that sign, Rue Rude, and then we quickly improvised the scene where the people come up and slap you. and you say, tough neighborhood. Yeah, and we made that up on the spot because we saw the sign on the wall, and you did great. Yeah, I remember we sitting around in the motorhome and stuff between scenes, and how surreal it was to even be there in France with Miss Universe, of course, of all of all people, for heaven's sakes. I'm still not sure how that worked out. Um, I talked to Mark Price a couple of weeks ago, and he said, I got to kiss Miss Universe, and and I was just thinking, well, I didn't get to do that, and I wrote the film. Good
You're
for
the
him.
producer.
That's right. So yeah, I remember, because that's the one time we did work in your swimming ability, so we had you swimming in that film, but otherwise, I don't think your swimming really had a huge effect on any of the roles you played that I can remember. Were you channeling your ability to be a championship swimmer into your acting?
That's what I could have gotten free, would be a bathing suit. But how am I going to hand that out to the cast and crew? Here's a free bathing suit.
Well, wait a minute. I read somewhere that about that time, was it People Magazine or something, said you had the best chest of any athlete in in the U.S. or something. They had some picture of you in the magazine looking really buff, and I thinking, crud, we didn't have a single scene with him with his shirt off. How'd we miss
Thank
that?
goodness. Back in the day, I had a six-pack. Now I have a keg.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Aren't we all there? At least we're still here. Let's put it that way, which is a great thing.
Absolutely. Waking up on the right side of the dirt.
That's right. Yeah, that's that. I like to think that way. So do you have a business you want to plug to listeners on the podcast? Or no? Anything?
Not
you
really.
want to
I
know?
have a business that what we do is it's called chlorine dioxide, ClO2, which is something that you put in ice machines it's all commercial stuff for restaurants. And so instead of getting dinged, you can use our product and you won't get dinged by the health inspector with mold and mildew and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So that's what we do.
So you're keeping people safe.
What's that?
Yeah, you're keeping people safe from disease.
Oh, absolutely. That's a good thing. I mean,
It is.
I've done some other products that didn't keep people safe.
Well, you did keep people safe from killer tomatoes, so that was in itself a service to all humankind at one point. So
I was talking to somebody who's well traveled, and she said she had just gotten back from, is it Italy, where they have the tomato, they throw tomatoes at each other and all that. And I said that'd be fun as heck.
Yeah, I regret that we weren't able to work that into one of our films. But now, see, you mentioning Ding. Yeah, that scene. Maybe you can describe what you were talking about with the surfboard and the Rolls Royce.
Yeah. So I think the last thing that John had said is, "Hey, our whole budget is in this car, even though it was a friend of y'all's or something like that. It says whatever you do, don't damage it." So our thing is to jump into the Rolls, which has 26 coats of paint and lacquer and everything else. And as we're jumping in, John has the surfboard to his side and turns, I think, and the fin hit the car and dented the car. And I'm like, oh, there went our budget.
It did indeed. You were running out of the bank in downtown San Diego, which is a hotel now. It's not a bank anymore, and whacked the side door and put a dent in the door of this beautiful, pristine Rolls Royce. And you're exactly right. We all looked at each other and said, "Well, at least we didn't crash a helicopter. It's cheaper than the helicopter was."
I do a thing. It's called Swim Across America. We raised money for cancer research. We raised about 130 million so far. And the first swim we did was Long Island, and we borrowed a boat. And the last thing the guy said, "Please don't sink my boat." Guess what we did?
Yeah, well,
All the fun stuff.
I know that area well. In my other life as a national park superintendent, I was the superintendent of Fire Island National Seashore, so I know that part of Long Island there. I did boating there myself, and I didn't sink any boats, but I grounded a few. they were teaching.
We did you one better. We sank ours.
Well, they were teaching me how to drive a boat, and the bay is really shallow there, so you have to make sure you stay in the channels where it's dredged. And the guy who was giving me the instructions said, "Okay, now turn left," and I turned left and hit the bottom. And he said, "I meant when you get to the channel." So it's like a bad driving instructor
literal,
joke.
brother.
When I said turn left, I meant at the corner. So yeah, I had
Left, Clyde.
exactly. Yeah, and this is what I remember, of you on the set. Well, a lot of the actors I had passing acquaintances with, but with you and John Astin, I think I spent more time with the two of you than any of the other actors. I wish I had spent more time with George Clooney, because then he would answer my phone calls now, which he doesn't do. And we did have a great time. I knew every day that you were going to be on the set, we were going to have fun. And I think that fun shows up in the film. It's pretty clear that when you are on screen, and I, as much as you would like to denigrate your own acting, I thought your acting was spot on for exactly what we needed, and it fit the comedy directly. And I know John Astin enjoyed working with you. So that fun was transposed onto film, and it makes a difference in the movie.
Well, I had a blast doing them. Every single one of them. Got to see different cast every time. Got to see you guys and John, and it's just fun. I mean, how can you not have fun?
Yeah. Well, like you said, how often do you get to drive a garbage truck? A lot of people will say, I get to do some really great stuff in my movies and visit some pretty exciting places, and you get to say, yeah, and I got to drive a garbage truck.
I mean, would I expect anything else as Igor, right?
That's
I mean, that was just a fun time. I mean, they didn't give me my checkout ride. I should have had one the way I was driving.
But one thing John Astin says that he likes about our film companies, we actually pay people. He says he's worked for big studios that don't pay him. We actually pay people. So do you ever run into people who've seen the movies, who comment to you that they've seen the movies?
I see people all the time that know the movie and have seen the movie. They don't connect to me with it.
Interesting.
Because I was that much of a method actor, and I was such a great actor that they didn't know that was me.
Yeah, you just disappeared into the role. Just another blonde hunk out there.
I just transposed myself. I'm the Meryl Streep of Killer Tomatoes.
That's. We should have let you keep that French wig.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Until you said that, I'm thinking back now after what you said earlier, and I thought, yeah, you did kind of look like Howard Stern. Slightly better looking.
I have no idea why that guy came over and just I was a little heated about that. Yeah. But you know what the heck? I was like, let's have fun.
Well, we just don't know. It's possible that he really thought you were Louis XIV, and and he was really angry about the way you were treating the peasants.
Yeah, let them eat cake.
That's right.
Yeah, he doesn't have the best reputation, I don't think, but
Yeah, well, he had a nice house. The
Big house.
yeah, really big house, really big house. House in the country, right? The so
It is funny that we went to that castle and filmed at that castle. Remember walking
yeah,
around that thing? It was so cold, and
yes,
there were pigeons everywhere. And you know what comes along with pigeons?
yes.
Pigeon droppings, and that place smelled like a bat cave.
That and I don't remember exactly where that thing was, only that was like a hour north of Paris or something. And yeah, I remember I went up to the third floor, which was closed off, and I I think the pigeon droppings must have been a foot deep. And I said, okay, that's enough. Back down there because there were no windows, it was all open. The glass was long gone, and the pigeons were just having a heyday in there, and it was. I'm glad we stayed on the first floor for most. Actually, we mostly filmed outside there, didn't we? Yeah, yipes, that was something. But
Yeah, because we'd have been sliding around.
yeah, yeah, we would have been sliding around. But that was such a great location, and I have to say, it's still one of my favorite jokes. Is the sign that's out front that says "Royalty Realty, a man's castle is his home." I thought that was one of my favorite jokes. Well, underappreciated movie. Fox has never really released that film. They put it out on video and kind of just abandoned it almost, and it's too bad because it's pretty darn funny. It's my favorite of the four movies is Killer Tomatoes Eat France, and unfortunately, it's the least seen of the movies, because it didn't it for some reason Fox decided that they weren't going to give it any play, and I think they really made a mistake in doing that because it is pretty funny, and you do a great job in that in your dual role as Igor and
Oh
heir
boy,
to the throne of France.
my great French accent.
Yeah, that's right. You did do a French accent. Demonstrate some of that French accent for
I'm
me.
from the south of France,
Yeah, yeah. Mon Dieu, y'all.
y'all.
Well, that didn't we pay some huge amount of money to give you a voice coach? I'm sure we did.
Oh, absolutely. That was a big part of the budget. You could tell.
Yeah, spare no expense. So here, a voice coach. We have two
None
things.
at all.
First, teach Steve to speak English, and then teach Steve to have a French accent. See if you can do both those things.
They failed miserably on both.
Oh boy! So you've been to the Killer Tomato Food Festival? Then have you been there in Atlanta?
Yes, I went. It was anything that has to do with tomatoes, and so I went over there and got some Bloody Marys, obviously, and you get fried cream tomatoes, anything with tomatoes in it, and it was really neat because there's like, as you've
Mhm.
been, they got like food vendors, and you better have some sharp elbows because everybody wanted to go to every single venue and get their food. I mean, if you're not there in the first 2 hours, you weren't getting anything.
It is the first time I went. I got to be a judge. They have professional judging now, but I got to be a judge, and so we had to taste one of everything. And okay, when we went through all the foods, it was like, okay, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. When I found out there were like 37 different mixed drinks, that took some pacing.
Then after the 37th one, you got the honest review.
exactly. This one wins. This one wins. This one wins. They all win. Every one I drink gets better than the one before. They're all winners.
You're like Oprah. You get a car. You get a
That's
car.
right. I don't. I did. I have to say, I didn't know you can make so many things from tomatoes. That was amazing to me. So I don't.
That was wonderful.
So you probably don't know this, but at the time, we were starstruck to have you on the set because I've never met anybody, even in the Olympics, never mind somebody who won gold medals and held world records. but you were like, so you were a major celebrity to me, to being there. And it was for me pretty exciting to have you on the set. And I think you actually brought your medals one day so we could see them, and we all oohed and awed over them, because I've never seen an Olympic medal except on TV. So do you wear those often?
Unfortunately, mine had chocolate in them, and I ate them.
I always suspected that. That's what they would do in Los Angeles. They would they make them out of chocolate.
You know what's funny is I take them to see kids and all that, and show them an Olympic medal, and I've done that for years, and just to enjoy it, to give people motivation sometimes in their swim teams and that kind of stuff. But it's funny, I used to do a lot of speaking, and one of the things I always said was, I am the killer of any show on the world. I did the last Killer Tomatoes. I did the second to the last Love Boat. I was the last 6 months of Search for Tomorrow, the absolute oldest soap opera in the world, and I killed that off. So I'm good at killing stuff, even tomatoes.
Well, if we're lucky, maybe we'll do another Killer Tomatoes movie, and then we'll get you in it so you can kill it one more time.
Just one more time.
Just one more time. Wouldn't be a Killer Tomato movie without Steve Lundquist in it. Maybe we'd find another thing. I have to say that character Igor, and for those of you who haven't seen a film, again, you need to see these movies. The character of Igor wants to be a newscaster, and he's only wearing a coat and tie from the waist up, and from there down, he's wearing shorts. And I made that character up because I actually used to work at Channel 8 in San Diego, KFMB, in the newsroom, and the sportscaster often actually did that. He would come in with his shorts on and just put on a coat and tie, and then broadcast sitting behind the desk. And I just remember thinking that was so funny. That's why I wrote the character that way. But it's become, I've seen that joke now stolen by others. It's showed up in other comedies that your character has been copied. So what was original once has now been copied.
I think that's pretty funny. We prepared everybody for the Zoom meetings now. So everybody wears shorts during a Zoom meeting. But the funny one is Rowdy Gaines. He swam with me in the Olympics, won a medal with me. And he was doing an interview, and they were both sitting on a bench. And the one guy gets up, and I guess they were on the edge of the bench. And one guy gets up and leaves, and Rowdy, the bench knocks him over, and he's on the ground. They have this all on film. He's legs in the air, in shorts, with a coat and tie.
That's great. Combination bench and seesaw, right?
Yes.
Yeah. It is fun to be able to look back on those films, because for those of us that were there, we do kind of, no matter what you do, you watch a scene and you in your head know what was happening behind the scenes in the scene. And Crystal Carson said that apparently all kinds of people have approached her with not the most appropriate remarks about having her in a sandwich. from the Temple of Food scene. and I thought, I had no idea that we created some sort of weird thing for her that she's had to deal with from people who have seen the scene and have impure thoughts about Crystal in a sandwich. So I don't. I guess you haven't had to face that kind of thing.
That's the girl I was talking about. My buddy was dating her sister.
Oh, wow.
Small world.
That really is amazing. Well, again, Steve, thanks. I appreciate the time with you, and it's really great to connect again.
Yeah, it's so good to see you, my friend, and I'm glad you and I have the same hairstyle.
Yeah, you have Steve Peace has the same hairstyle too, but he's not here today. But yeah, we're in the same club, unfortunately. It's not a club I wanted to be in, but as we said, waking up on the right side of the dirt, so I can't complain.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll be in touch again. So glad to see you, and thanks for doing this podcast.
Thank you so much, and you better call when you get to Atlanta now.
Will do. So that concludes our podcast with Steve Lundquist. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening to Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Be sure to follow and subscribe whenever you listen to your podcasts. To read the blog associated with this episode, visit olismedia.com. This episode was produced in studios located in San Diego, California, and Tijuana, Baja California. Creative Director Ulises Bretón. Sound Engineer Alan Glazepar. Ina Alvarez is co-producer. Serving as executive producer and co-founder is J.C. Polk. And Chad Pease is president and co-founder. Olis Media is an IVC media company.
Olis Media.